let's talk about Ezra. He's on trial right now in Ottawa. Is it Ottawa or Toronto? I think
Toronto,
it's Ottawa.
I believe.
Is it Toronto? Someone correct me. I
Mr.
forget.
Producer?
He's traveled so much.
Yeah, I think it's in federal court in Toronto, Sheila.
Okay, he's traveled so much this week, I've lost track of where the boss is. But he's on trial for writing a book called The Libranos, which we published prior to the last election, which is when you would need information detailing the Liberals' corruption. And we also had some fun lawn signs and some fun posters, and I think even a mouse pad, which I had for the longest time till I spilled coffee on it. And so apparently his book was illegal, which Ezra says, as he says, Banana Republic, I'm on trial for writing a book about Trudeau called The Libranos. He is right when he says that this trial is so important because it's whether or not the right to criticize the government lives or dies. Like, your books in a free society should not be approved by the government, right? That when you say it that way, it makes perfect sense. However, Ezra's in trouble. They're trying to catch him, as they always do, to conservatives on campaign finance violations. They're basically saying that this is a donation in kind to the Conservative Party of Canada. Jeez. If you criticize the Liberals. So that's what's happening right now. And as it would turn out, David's cheeky little comment that he made at one point, we can bring that up, Ezra's tweet. Elections Canada quotes David Menzies, our reporter, who cheekily called for regime change on election day. Which should come as no surprise that we would love to not see the Liberals in power anymore. I think that it would be good for the country. And David is not just a journalist, but a commenter. And he's allowed to say what's on his mind, unlike, not unlike the CBC. They get to bash conservatives all the time, and they get paid to do it by the federal government. But if you do it, and I guess not take money from the feds, apparently that's a campaign finance violation. By telling the truth about the Liberals counts as a campaign finance violation, a donation in kind to the Conservatives.
Sheila, I've never seen a bigger nothing burger than that. Regime change, that's used on both sides of the political spectrum.
Sure.
It's not me saying, let's have regime change by promoting some kind of, armed insurrection. It's just a change in government. If I simply said change in government as opposed to regime change, would that have been so inflammatory? So we're just dealing with semantics here. And that's what the federal government lawyers have. That's their, shocking reveal that I said regime change. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, Sheila. Do you see anything wrong there?
No. Is that a trick question? Of course not. But that is not all the government has against the boss man. Because there's something else. They're really going after us here because there's also a drawing that we did, our graphics team did. If you could bring that up. There's a very scary graphic that we did.
Not that cartoon.
Yeah, and they brought it up and they said that this is also... Ezra says, I swear to God, Elections Canada's lawyer is complaining about this. They said this is one of the reasons they convicted us of publishing an illegal book. And it was back in 2020 when the government demanded that that Ezra produce his private editorial notes as a journalist and author. They said, okay, send us your editorial notes and maybe we'll let you off the hook. Like, send us your sources of where you came to these conclusions and the evidence in your book, The Libranos. And so we did. We put this in, we had our graphics team draw up this little haha, Ezra. There's Ezra laughing as he's putting it in there. And he's writing a book, and then he made lawn signs, and then he made some money. And then there's Justin Trudeau crying in his I Like Weed t-shirt. We sent this to them as evidence of our editorial notes on the book. And they got super mad. And so that came up, of course, too.
Oh, Sheila, we're having fun with this, and it's outrageous, both what I said and that silly cartoon. But here's the deal. The X factor, as with any trial being held in front of a judge, well, the judge is the X factor. And I know two veteran criminal lawyers, more than 30 years in the business, Sheila. They both tell me the identical thing. All over their career, they've gone into court saying, there's really no way my client can be found guilty on this. And guess what? At the end of the trial, guilty. And conversely, this is the proverbial shite case. My client doesn't have a hope in hell. And guess what? At the end of the trial, not guilty. That's how far the thing can swing. And you never know what the judge is thinking. So we're having a laugh at this. We think, the prosecution's case is ludicrous and ridiculous. But can we get into the brain of the judge, hearing this? No, we can't. So we'll see when that judgment is rendered. What are your feelings on if we're going to be given a fair shake here, Sheila?
I'm not sure. This is an appeal of an existing conviction. For those of you who don't know, Ezra was actually convicted of the crime of an illegal book, and then he was issued a $3,000 fine. Now, you might think we're mad to be spending tens of thousands of dollars fighting a $3,000 fine, but it's the point of it all.
Yep.
That you should not, there's no such thing as an illegal book in Canada. And I think it's pretty interesting. These people who are willing to put, who are right now calling, like the government itself is calling parents bigots for wanting to get actual pornography out of the school library, simultaneously calling an illegal book, the one Ezra wrote, full of true facts about liberal corruption. That's the problematic book for these people. But some of the things that are coming out of this courtroom, and people, if you are on Twitter or whatever they call it now, X, follow the boss. He is in court live tweeting his own trial. This is something only done at Rebel News. But anyways, he says Trudeau's lawyer said, it's not enough that the censorship of Ezra's book may chill free expression. Ezra has to prove that it chilled free expression, or else it's perfectly fine. So
really?
Not that, so he has to prove that it served to shut him up. Trudeau's lawyer said, the fact that pro-Trudeau books continue to be published show that there isn't a chilling effect. What?
What?
Yeah.
That doesn't make any sense. That's the point. If you write a pro-Trudeau book, you're not going to be hauled in front of this any kind of a court or a judge. I mean, that's crazy.
It gets worse.
I can see why Ezra said, I swear to God, he said that.
Trudeau's lawyer also said, we can't presume that censoring the Libranos will have a chilling effect. Okay, but how many self-published authors are willing to go up against the government to tell the truth? You would never know who self-censored because of this. You would never know. And that's the point. If you don't know what the chilling effect is, then you can't do something that would cause a chilling effect. Anyways, it's Trudeau's lawyer, Justice Department lawyer, also said that, quote, unregulated media are a threat to elections in Canada.
Oh, unregulated media? He said that? Can you imagine? Yeah. That's kind of like they're playing their cards out in the open, isn't it, Sheila? We want to control and regulate you.
Are they really a threat to elections or Justin Trudeau's re-election efforts? That's, I think, what's going on there.
Unbelievable. Hey folks, that was a clip from the daily live stream. I co-host it Monday to Thursday from 1 p.m. to 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. The Alberta team takes over on Friday. Please tune in. And by the way, we want to hear your 2 cents worth. If you're able to make a minimal $5 donation, we will read your chat on the air live. Thank you.
Justin Trudeau's new censorship law, Bill C-18. It's a shakedown and a desperate attempt to keep the mainstream media afloat. Many have already lost their ability to access our Facebook and Instagram pages. The blackout will soon affect every user in Canada. We've partnered with Private Internet Access, a VPN provider dedicated to safeguarding digital privacy. For just $2 a month, you can maintain your access to our content across all your devices at piavpn.com/rebelnews.